All right, let's see if this second attempt will work. Facebook trying to keep us from being great tonight, I tell you. So come on in, rejoin us. We apologize for the technical difficulties. You try to get on here early and Facebook don't want to cooperate. So we're going to try another live feed. Come on in. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to give everybody a chance to rejoin since the first one did not want to cooperate with us. All right. So we'll try this again, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For the second go around, we're going to pray for some anointing to fall on the technical connection so we can stay connected this time. Hi, Jelena. How are you doing? Oh my gosh. Yes. So good to have you. So good to have you. Okay. You gotta love technology. Sometimes it works for you and sometimes it doesn't. But that's okay. All right, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I do want to be respectful of everybody's time. Technology got us a little hung up, but that's okay. We're gonna keep moving. We're not gonna let it stop us. But I want to go ahead and get started so that way everybody can get back to the rest of their evening, whatever it is. So we're going to go ahead, hit it quickly, answer your questions, and move forward. All right, so those who don't know me, in case you're new to me, my name is Tamika Williamson. College for Free is my vision, has been my vision, I guess, for a long time. It's the platform that we work with families on in terms of helping them understand the admissions process, the funding process, so that they can be better equipped in being able to send their kids to college for free. We want to help as many families as possible to be able to do this without any student loan debt. And we've been effective and successful at doing this for several years now, well, many years now, and we've been able to do it without any bribery, without any illegal actions. That's not part of who we are. We do everything based off of numbers and stats. That's what we work off of, numbers and stats. We make decisions based off of data. So I don't get kickbacks from any school, from anybody for helping and working with our clients. We do what is best fit for our clients. So now that I've gotten all that out the way, we got to talk about scholarships. I'm always getting asked, about scholarships. Where can we find scholarships? How to find scholarships? All of those great things. And I've done several trainings on them, got a free ebook, all those things. And I thought, you know what, let's do it again, because some people may have missed the first set of trainings. It's all good. Let's talk about how to look for scholarships. Because in light of the whole college admission scandal, everything associated with it, it has also raised the attention to student loan debt. There was an article the other day talking about how student loan debt is bringing down the economy and all those things. So that's a whole different conversation. But we know that scholarships are important and they are part of the college admissions process. So we want to educate you on how to find the money, because there's money out there, guys. There's a lot of scholarship opportunities, but we have to, one, know how to find the money, two, be willing to do the work, and three, be able to hold our kids accountable through the process. Now, I say hold your kids accountable through the process, parents, because this is their process. They have to do this. Now, you can help them. You can do a tag team type of approach, whatever it is, but they still have to do the work. They have to be willing to put in the work. And that's what you must be willing to do, because it does take work. So first off, let's just start off with when you should start looking for scholarships. I ask this question at the start of all of my seminars. I always ask this question. When should you start looking for scholarships? And I get a barrage of answers all over the place, from junior year to sophomore year. Some parents are joking, say at birth, and all those things. And for the most part, most answers are always somewhere between sophomore year and sophomore year and junior year. That's actually late. That is late in the process. So you're probably getting late. Well, when are we supposed to look for scholarships? Or our counselor said that's when scholarships are available, and all these things I've heard. There are scholarships out there as early as kindergarten. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. We're just really getting started. So we're talking about when you should start looking for scholarships. There are scholarships out there as early as kindergarten. We post them on the page all the time. We actually posted some earlier, starting out at kindergarten. So let me go ahead and answer this question. I know some of y'all thinking, because every time I say that, especially in my seminars, I always get a parent. It's always at least one who comes back and says, well, if they offer scholarships that early, what do they do with the money until my child graduate? And I'm always wondering, why do you care? If your child qualifies and your child wins the money, who cares what they do with it, as long as you get it when your child needs it? So the answer to that question can vary. It really depends upon the scholarship organization and how they've designated that money. Some organizations may hold on to it until your child graduate. And I remember sharing this a couple of weeks ago, and a parent said, well, are they going to give me the interest? I was like, no, that's not how that works. That's not how it works. I used to sit on the board. We created a foundation, and the whole goal was for us is to generate the money and get to a place where we can start awarding scholarships out of the interest, not out of the principal. That's what everybody else is trying to do, because when you can do that, then you have a greater giving capacity. Okay, so we really don't care when they're gonna give us the money, as long as we get it. Some may hold on to it, some may give it to you at that point in time. Now, if they give it to you at that point in time, this is where you have to be very responsible with that money. Now, there's usually some type of contingency or stipulations placed on how money is spent. So make sure, if the money is given to you beforehand, guys, just get with a financial person, put it in a 529 or some type of investment vehicle that's going to mature over time so that money can grow. But again, at the end of the day, scholarships, when should you start looking for scholarships, everybody? Kindergarten. Yes, we're going to start then. It may not be a whole lot at that time, but every year you want to build a scholarship list. Well, we'll talk more about how to do this strategically. Okay? Because we want you guys to win. We want you guys to win, all right? So we already know we're going to start at kindergarten. Now, with that, how do I look for money? How do I find money? You say there's money out there. How do I find it? Where do I go? Well, I'm so glad you all asked. If you saw the announcement of the going live, you also would have seen I'm getting tongue-tied. You also should have seen the website that you were directed to go to pull down the free ebook. So if you did not do that and you have not done that yet, that is okay, because there's still time to do it. That information is you're going to go to, so why I draw a blank on where I'm sending you. So if you go to crushcollegedebt.com, you can, it's going to have a pop-up window that's going to ask for your name and your email address. You put that in there, that will, you will get a responding email that has the link for you to download the free ebook. So crushcollegedebt.org. Crushcollegedebt.com. I'm just like all over the place. What is the world? All right. You know what? I didn't eat dinner. Maybe that's what it is. I haven't eaten my dinner yet. I'm a little behind. I wanted to be here with you guys, and I didn't want to prolong that time. So crushcollegedebt.com. That's where you want to go. That is where you will get the free ebook. So when you go and do that and you get the free ebook, you'll get some general information about just scholarships, the scholarship process, and all those things. But it also will walk you through 5 simple steps. So we broke it down into 5 simple steps. There are 5 simple steps for you to find scholarship money. You know, it's already a taxing process. We wanted to make it as easy as possible. So we've broken it down into 5 simple steps. Okay, so we're making sure the link is also in the chat. So the first step in this process, this is a term we've come up with. This term I've come up with. I call it, what are your fundable traits? What are your fundable traits? What we got to realize is there is literally a scholarship for everything and anything you can imagine and you can think of. So it's not about how smart your child is, what their grades are, how much money you make. It used to be broken down into those 2 big categories, but now there are so many other categories out there where you can take advantage of many different scholarships that has nothing to do with how much money you make, parent, what your child's academic portfolio looks like, or what they plan to major in with their career. Okay? So step 1 is you want to brainstorm and think about all of those fundable traits your child possess. So you're maybe wondering, what do you mean fundable traits? These are things they can get money for. So there's a scholarship for being left-handed. So if your child is left-handed, look for the left-handed scholarships. There's a scholarship for being flat-footed. I've been flat-footed my whole life. Never knew I could have got money to go to college for it. There is a scholarship for being flat-footed. There's a scholarship for being too tall. If you know me or see me in person, you know that I am a tall person. I'm about 6 feet tall. So there's a scholarship for being real tall. There's a scholarship for being real short. There's a scholarship for so if your child has a learning disability, you know, ADHD, anything of that caliber, there are scholarships out there for them. If your child has any disability, there are scholarships out there for them. So not only does the school provide resources and all those things to help students with disabilities, but there also are scholarships for students who have disabilities. That was probably one of the most despicable things, I'm sorry, y'all, this is a side note, that came out of this college admission scandal, is the fact that they identified their kids and found doctors to sign off on to say they had these particular disabilities just so they can get into the school and they can get money. That right there is just like the low of the low, because I encounter kids who have disabilities and they don't want to share. They don't like that to identify them. So they usually don't speak up about it. They're not as vocal, and sometimes the parents are afraid to speak up about it. No, this is the time you want to speak up about every and anything, because there's money, there's a value attached to it. So learning disabilities, cancer, if your child is a cancer survivor, or a parent, if you are a cancer survivor, or if unfortunately a loved one was lost to cancer, there are scholarships for that. So think about everything associated with your child, and in the ebook it'll walk you through some exercises to help you to look at every aspect of your child, because there's a value attached to it that you can turn into college money. All right, So the first thing we have to do is identify what are all the areas we can find scholarships in. This is how you become strategic about this. Your part of you being strategic and intentional is to drill down on the different categories you can find money for your child's college education. And that way you can start breaking up your searches based on those categories. And you can start building out spreadsheets and files that segregates the information by category. And then from category, you get to break it down by dates. Well, more so probably by months. Months are easier. So that way you could tackle a group of scholarships at a time. That's how you could be strategic at doing this. We give our clients, they get a scholarship tracking sheet that they use, but guys, get an Excel spreadsheet and just create some columns, whatever works for you in terms of organization. But the key is you want to be organized. You got to be organized because there's too many moving pieces when it comes to college admissions as a whole. And when you start looking at scholarships, you get overwhelmed if you don't have a process in place. So you got to have some tools that you're going to use to track the information so that you don't lose sight of anything. Because when those deadlines pass, in some cases, organizations will extend the deadlines, but that's more of an exception than a norm. So you want to make sure you're organized so you don't miss any deadlines. So find a way to track all that information based on those different categories so that you can manage the scholarship search appropriately. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions? So y'all know the educator in me, the professor in me, I got to make sure you guys are on point. You know, it's like I'm doing one of my leadership training classes. I got to make sure y'all follow me. Right. Okay. So are there scholarships available for 2019 senior that is late in the game? Okay. So hold up, Tawana. Hold on one second. Let me table that 1 second. 1 second. I'm going to ask you that one time. I'm going to answer that question in a minute. Okay. Let me do this. So the second, well, this is not the second step in the process, but the second part that I want to cover is after you identify the scholarships, then you want to start looking at all the different places you can find the scholarships, because scholarships are housed in multiple places. So understand this, there is not one vehicle that has all the scholarships that exist out there. So you're going to have to use multiple vehicles. So when I talk about vehicles in the back of the ebook, it gives you a list of places to start, but those are just starting places because, again, there's so many other places you can go. You have capex.org, you have scholarships.com, scholarships.org, you have fastweb.com, you have Scholarship Owl, and the list goes on and on. You also have your social media platforms. Yes. Organizations post scholarships on social media constantly, all day, every day. And my favorite social media place to find scholarships is Twitter. Because you can go to Twitter, put in a search box, hashtag scholarship or scholarships. You probably want to do both because people use a variation, and Twitter will give you some indicator of what's been used more frequently and how many times it's been tweeted within the hour and all those things. So that could become an indicator for you on how to search. But if you do that, you'll get every post, every tweet rather, that include that they use the hashtag scholarship, because most organizations most organizations who post scholarships, they'll use the hashtag. So use that as a way to find who you should be following. That's one thing. That gives you an idea of who you want to follow because they typically post scholarships on a continuous basis. Secondly, you then look at the scholarships to see, is this something we can actually apply for? Because again, remember, there's scholarships for everything. So there's scholarships for different causes, texting, driving without texting, no smoking, create a campaign, I think we put one earlier, create a doodle about your favorite superhero and what superpower would you like to possess. I mean, there's scholarships everywhere. So use those different vehicles. Another one, I always try to get kids to do this because they do everything from their device. So Scholly, the Scholly app, SCHOLLY. That is, you want to pay for your child to have an app? That is an app you want to pay for your child to have. Okay, the Scholly app. So we'll drop that in the chat box as well. So the Scholly app, it is a little cost. I think it's like $1 or $2. I can't remember. It's not much, you guys. We spend more than that going to Starbucks. But they get to create their profile, and when they create their profile, just like you do on CapEx and everything else, except for the information now will come to them on their phone versus CapEx and all those other organizations or websites, is going to come to their email box. So the Scholly app allows them to apply for scholarships, track the scholarships. It gives them a dashboard, how many they qualify for, how many they've applied for, how many they've won. It's a great tool. And Scholly also awards scholarships to registered members as well every year. So utilize these tools because they are out there. Now, one other tool I want to share, and then Tawanda, I'm going to answer your question. This particular tool is going to work best for parents who have ninth graders. Well, parents who have middle school kids / ninth graders. It's called raise.me. Okay? Raise.me. So Raise is what you call it's basically like a crowdsourcing tool. It's a crowdsourcing tool. So what it does is your student will create a profile on Raise.me, and parents, you can create one as a parent as well to follow your child. But when they create the profile, what they'll start doing is they'll start it's kind of like getting, here's the way to look at it, allowances. Now I don't know if parents still do allowances. Y'all may just give y'all kids money. But when I was growing up, when we did certain things, we got an allowance. You know, if you did your chores, cleaning the kitchen, keeping your bedroom clean. So basically, we got money for doing the things we were supposed to do anyway as a child in our parents' home. Look at Raise Me like that. They are attaching scholarship dollars to different tasks students are doing, and these are the things they should be doing in the college readiness process. For example, there'll be money attached to every A they earn. They can get money for that. They'll get money for extracurricular activities they participate in where they have a leadership position. If they did a college tour, if they attended a college fair, and the list goes on and on and on. You know, so if you go on the page, you'll see all the different ways your child can generate money over time. They have relationships or partnerships with a lot of great schools. So 9 times out of 10, if there's a school you want to go to, they're probably on there. And if they are not, they are working on it. You also can send them an email, send them a message if there's a school not on there that you want them to try to add or try to establish a partnership with. They are open to that. So take advantage of Raise.me as well. We put them in the chat box, which will take you to their Facebook page as well. But that's another way to generate money without doing anything extra. Okay, how cool is that? They're giving that, there's money attached to it for the things they already should be doing. And once your child becomes a senior, you will basically see what your bank is, and that money can be applied towards any of the schools they have a partnership with that your child is looking to go to. So take advantage again of these different resources. So Tawanda, Are there scholarships available for 2019 seniors that is late in the game that doesn't have a 4.0 GPA? So we already established GPA has nothing to do with getting money. There's different types of money or scholarships out there that you can get that has nothing to do with GPA. So yes, there's money out there even if your child does not have a 4.0. Now, in terms of your child being a senior, yes, there's still money, but here's the reality. The chance of garnering a lot of money between now and August, the probability of that is not that high, but it's not impossible. It's like the lotto. You can't win if you don't play. So go and start where you are now. Start now with applying for scholarships. If you haven't been applying for scholarships, don't get discouraged. Just start now. Because here's the thing. The process of looking for scholarships, you guys, don't stop. Yes, that's right. Excuse me, 1 second. The process doesn't stop. Now, I know I talked about when you should start looking for scholarships. I said kindergarten. Yes. When should you stop? When your child is through with college and they don't want to go back to college no more. That's as simple as I can put it. That's as plain as I can put it. So that means, although your child is in college, there are still scholarships out there. But understand this about the game. The money that's designated and allocated for college is primarily allocated for students when they are still in from K through 12, basically. They have not graduated from secondary education. The money that's available during for that grade period is infinite. Once your child graduates from high school and they become a college student, the pot of money decreases and the competition increases. So you have more hands in the pot and the money is more competitive. Okay? So when we talk about scholarships for kids from K through 12, yes, I said it's not just about it's not just about grades. It's about everything else your child brings to the table, as well as there are some special interest type of scholarships. But when you talk about going after big money, I mean, you're talking about $40,000, $30,000, $20,000 scholarships. They are often tied to your child's entire portfolio. So what I mean by that is when you go through the ebook, it'll talk about the 4 pillars of college admissions. LACT. L is for leadership, A is for academics, C is for community service, T is for test scores. Those 4 pillars is what makes up your child's scholarship portfolio, which is what you will use to help market, position, sell your child, or what they will use to sell themselves when they are applying for scholarships. Because even at the K through 12 level, the scholarship market is competitive. It's just more competitive once they get to college. So that means once your child gets to college, they're not looking at what they did in high school. They are now looking at, okay, what are you doing as a college student? So it's all about, at that point in time, more often than none, it's going to be tied to their GPA. It's going to be tied to GPA and major. Those are the 2 primary categories when you start talking about scholarships once they're already in college. Those are the 2 primary factors of what the scholarships are going to be based around. So you got GPA, you got major. Some will deal with need, because we've posted some where you still have to have a demonstrated need. So basically you're going to share your financial aid package to show that there's still a balance. And with those things, sometimes there could be gender attached to it as well. All right. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? I want to make sure this is clear for you. You got this. Tawanda. Okay, so the process of looking for scholarships is ongoing. It's ongoing. At the college level, make sure they're still looking. You're going to keep doing the same process. You're just changing the parameters of what you're searching for. Looking for scholarships. For grad school, yes, you want to keep looking for scholarships. But keep in mind, it's just that much more competitive. Another way to look at it is, I tell people to think about it as supply and demand. We are seriously in an environment where it's based off of supply and demand. Whatever is in high demand, that's what's being funded. So when you're talking about STEM fields, they are more funded than other fields that's not in demand. If there's no type of career opportunity, no career growth predicted for that particular career field, they are not spending a lot of money or allocating a lot of funds for students to pursue advanced degrees in those areas. So you're more likely you need to expect to have to pay a loan unless you started early in high school. Well, you started early in elementary, middle school, and you worked the process diligently, and you garnered enough money to pay for undergraduate and graduate school. Because that's where you really want to be. You want to work the process year after year to get enough money to pay for undergraduate and graduate school. It's possible. I've seen it done. All right. So that is how you pay for college strategically. We're not just thinking about the undergraduate years. We got to think about the total picture. Based on what your child want to do, what does the college path look like? What is required for them to gain employment? If a master's degree at minimum is required, for example, a degree in psychology, a student who wants to work in the field of psychology or become a psychologist or a psychiatrist, at minimum, they have to get a master's degree. And then from there, a PhD, depending on what they want to do. But at minimum, they need a master's degree in order to gain employment in that area. So how are you going to fund it? We have to start sooner in the process. So that way we can generate enough funds before your child graduates from high school that can cover undergraduate and graduate school. That's how you pay for college strategically. That's how you are able to send your child to college for free. Well, that's one of the ways. There's multiple layers to this, but we're just focusing on scholarships. Okay, so let's just kind of do a quick recap, because I know it's a lot of information and you're probably taking notes, and hopefully you're not feeling too overwhelmed. But first off, we want to make sure we brainstorm all of our fundable traits. What are all those different categories where we can seek scholarships our child qualifies for? That's what we want to do first. Secondly, we want to start building out profiles so that we can start searching and generating scholarships from those different scholarship sources. So that's what we talked about: capex.org, scholarships, Scholarship Owl, scholarships.com, Twitter, the Scholly app, and the list goes on and on. Okay? And then, of course, we got to start the process early. Be strategic about it. Have a way to manage it. Be organized so that you can keep track of all of the different deadlines as well. All right, so Jennifer, thank you for your question. Okay, what's the best approach when you don't have a tear-jerking story or some family hardship to describe? All right, so look and explore all those other great things about your child. Hopefully there is a story somewhere. It could be something about maybe they struggled with a subject and they overcame it. Maybe maybe there was a teacher they struggled with. Maybe they were shy and they didn't talk to people, and they had to work on becoming more outgoing. Maybe they weren't the best player on the basketball team, but they worked very diligently to improve their basketball skills to maintain a position on the team and not get cut. So there's so many ways you can go with it. You're gonna have to broaden your mindset around broaden your mindset beyond family hardships and things like that, because there's other stories and other great ways you can describe your child in different essays, because a lot of them are dealing with how you overcome any challenge. And if you don't have one, maybe there's one they can speak of. Maybe they saw you overcome a challenge and they helped you through the process. What did they do? What was the outcome? Or maybe it was a best friend they helped through the process, and they did some things. So maybe it wasn't directly with them. Maybe there's somebody within your circle you can branch the story off of to to speak on as well. Does that help, Jennifer? All right, Tawana, you posted the same thing, so I want to see, did you miss anything from the last before? I mean, are there still questions? Because there are scholarships still available. So let me know if you missed that part, if something wasn't clear. Okay. So I want to make sure, Jennifer and Tawanda, you're good. If not, put your question in the chat box. All right. So with that, one of the things you have to be mindful of, you guys, you can't be afraid of essays. Okay, awesome. Essays are part of the process. They're part of the process. Now, all scholarships do not require essays. There's some are set up even as sweepstakes. Okay, I'm not sure. I know it kept going on my end. We may have to go through the replay. To get all the details, but the simple answer is yes, there are still scholarships available. And the process of looking for scholarships is ongoing. It doesn't stop. Even when your child becomes a college student, they should continue looking for scholarships. So start where you are now and start looking for scholarships. We posted some that has March 31st deadlines. Start looking for scholarships that have deadlines in the days to come, and then April, and then May, and every month all the way up, every month going forward, because the process is not going to stop. Okay, does that help? Did that come through? Hey, Kim. Good evening. I know you are busy working with your group as well. So welcome. But that's what you want to do. So Twanda, let me know if that doesn't make sense. But start now. All right, so essays, you guys. Essays is part of the process. If you know your child is not good at writing, find somebody to help them write solid essays. Also, when they do write essays, make sure those essays are proofread. Please, I beg you, make sure they are proofread, because you do not want your child submitting an essay that has grammatical errors, misspellings, and poor punctuation, all that stuff. Don't do it, because that right there is going to take them out of the running for any type of scholarship. So get somebody to help preview their essays. If you want to, we do have an essay writing service. If you want to check that out, we'll be more than glad to assist you with that. But essays should never go out without somebody proofreading it. I believe in having at least 3 people proofread it, because sometimes one person will look at it from one angle and they can miss something. So 3, I just like, it's just an odd number to break the tie if there are some similarities between 2. But make sure they're reviewed as well. All right, can you start even though the child has not chosen a school? So that's a good question. Can you start looking for scholarships even though your child has not chosen a school? Yes. Because one, we know there are scholarship opportunities available as early as kindergarten. So you definitely have no idea about what school you want to go to at that time. But the other reason why you can is because when you talk about private scholarships, private funding, private scholarships are independent of the school, the institution your child goes to. So that money is the money you've earned, your child earns if they win the scholarship, and that money goes with them wherever they go, even if they decide to change schools. Now, you have what's called institutional funds. Those funds come from the school itself. So yes, schools award scholarships and so forth, but that's institutional money, meaning that money is only earmarked for that school. So when we're talking about private scholarships. Now, there are private scholarships that's tied to that school. For example, my alumni chapter at Southern University, A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, our alumni chapter here in Atlanta, Georgia, we award scholarships every year to students in the Atlanta metropolitan area to attend our college. The only way you can get that money is if you've been accepted to Southern and you plan to attend school at Southern. That's the only way you can get it. So that's the exception to the rule when I say private funds are not earmarked to any school. Because you have alumni clubs, and you also have, there are people who will create endowments, personal endowments, and they earmark the money as well to their alma mater. So those will be the exceptions. But there's billions of dollars that has nothing to do with the school for you to take advantage of. So no, thank you for asking that question, because I try to think of questions people often ask to try to cover it. And I know there's so many different layers. So definitely thank you for asking that question, because I'm sure somebody was wondering that and didn't know to ask it. There's a lot of myths out there and a lot of assumptions. So here's my thing with that. Research it. Don't trust everything everybody tells you. Now, I know you could probably be like, well, why should we trust you? Touche. Well, this is what we do. I got a best-selling book that deals with it. I have clients who have demonstrated these practices. My clients have been able to send their kids to college for free. We're hitting close to that 10 million mark in terms of money acquired in scholarship dollars to pay for college. So I have demonstrated proof, and that's really what I want to say. Look for the demonstrated proof, validate the source to make sure they are giving you the right information, because I've heard people, even in the education system, give out wrong information. And it's because they don't know. They haven't updated themselves, because the college admissions process continues to evolve. And if they are not doing any continuing education in that space, they're giving out bad information. And that's another challenge, and that I'm not going to get off on that soapbox. Let's see, Tawana, my local alumni, Alcorn State University, a fellow HBCU, provides scholarships to Georgia students attending the university. So anybody listening, if your child is planning to go down to Alcorn State University, the local alumni chapter awards scholarships to students in Georgia. And that's pretty much universal across the board. If there's a local alumni chapter in your area, they likely provide money for students to go to their college. Now, with that we talk about in the book, go after the low-hanging fruit. So another part of your strategy when we're talking about looking for scholarships, using CapEx and ScholarApp and all those other sources, look at your local resources, okay? Look at your local resources. That's what we call low-hanging fruit. Everybody wants to go after the Gates Millennial and all these big Burger King, McDonald's, Taco Bell, high-dollar scholarships. You know, those are the most competitive scholarships because everybody is trying to go after it. I'm not saying don't go after, you go after that money. But you also cannot forget and sleep on your local scholarships. So what do I mean when I say local? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. And Jennifer, I see your question. I'm gonna come to you. Parents, who do you bank with? Especially if you bank with a credit union. Most credit unions award scholarships to their students. Okay? So that means get your child a bank account at their credit union that's awarding scholarships. That's local money. Some grocery stores. Does your child work? One of my scholars works for Chick-fil-A, and yay, she got the Chick-fil-A scholarship. Super proud of her. The company they work for, if they have a summer job or after school job, do they award scholarships? Is your electric company what they call a co-op? So where I live, we're serviced by Greystone, which is a co-op, a EMC type of electric company. They award scholarships to their students who's in their area. So don't discount your local organizations. This is again what we call low-hanging fruit. Your church, lodges. There's a whole plethora of places you can go through. Local organizations, Greek organizations, all of them that's local. That's low-hanging fruit because the competition is not as steep when you're going after national scholarships. So that means it increases your chance to getting the scholarship if you put together a solid application package. Okay? So take advantage of all money. Well, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me put a disclaimer there. Take advantage of all money, but make sure it's worth it, you guys. Believe it or not, there are some scholarships out there. And to me, I think they're asking for a bit much for what they are giving away. You know, I think I've seen some for like $250 or $500, but they want you to write a 1,000-word essay. And I'm like, okay, 1,000-word essays is usually, you could do a $40,000 scholarship, $40,000 scholarship, and they only want a 500-word essay. So I also believe in making sure it makes dollars and cents. You know, we gonna trade all this time, and this is all we can possibly get. But you're just gonna have to gauge it for yourself. But make sure you don't leave money on the table, because again, if you don't apply, you're not gonna have a chance at getting it. All right, so I know I was trying to get it on my screen. Okay, what happens to scholarship money that is not accepted? Example, someone if offered a scholarship to a school and they select a different school, do they reissue it to another student? So Jennifer, great question. That's going to vary organization to organization. It's really going to boil down to what their policies and procedures are concerning that. Because if it's a foundation, foundations usually have that outlined in the rules to make sure there's transparency in terms of how money is allocated and all those things. So it depends on how the organization has it defined in their policies and procedures. Some may give it to the runner-up, whoever, whatever student followed them, or they may put it back in the pot and use it for the following year. So it depends. It depends. You never know. All right, Jennifer, you know what? Share it on the page. Share the link on the page. If you are in the metropolitan Atlanta area, Legacy of Pearls Foundation Incorporation has 4 scholarships. Can I get a 4? 4 scholarships. The deadline is 3/22. That's this week. This is March 19th. You can still get it done. Make it happen. How bad do you want it? Another local scholarship. Competition not as steep because you don't have as many hands in the pot. Great scholarship to take advantage of. Yeah, Jennifer, if you share the link, post it on the page, and then I'll repost it too, just to remind people as well, because it's all about sharing, you guys. It's all about sharing. It's all about helping everybody win. There's a lot of money out there. So we just have to be willing to go after it. we have to be willing to put in what I call the sweat equity. The more sweat equity you put in it, the greater the return you can get. All right. So go after those low hanging fruit. All right. Okay. So I think, let me just double check, because I didn't want to go through everything in the ebook. You guys, make sure you go to crushcollegedebt.com and you can download the free ebook, because there's a lot of other great information in there that I'm not covering. I wanted to hit the main things so that you'll know not only how to look for scholarships, but also how to think about this strategically, so you're not spinning your wheels, so you're not wasting your time. Because I want you guys to win. There's money out there. This whole college admission scandal, we those of us who's in the industry, we know that's nothing new. They just got caught. So now the whole world knows. And there's so many layers to that whole situation. But there are still opportunities out there, and still great ways for your kids to win and be able to go to college for free. It's just all about, I use the SEND principle. How to send your child to college for free. S is create a strategy. E is to get educated on the process. N is to know how to get noticed. And D is to be deliberate in your approach. So being more intentional in executing your task. Yes. So crushcollegedebt.com. Yes, ma'am. So that's what you got to do. So this is me educating you guys on the scholarship process, so you know how to approach it more intentionally and more strategically. All right. So this is what I share with my clients. I teach them in terms of how to do this. I have a client now. Now most of her scholarship funds are actually institutional funds. She's an athlete, and there's some other things, but she's knocking on $1 million door right now in opportunities. So it's like, oh my gosh, all these options, all these offers. It's possible. It's out. The money is out there. You just have to know how to get it. It's what I call understand the rules of engagement. It's just like when you play football, you play sports. When you understand the rules of engagement, you know how to win the game. You know how to outsmart the next team. And that's really what this is. College admissions and college funding is a game, you guys. It is a game. And you got to know how to navigate the process so that you know how to win the game. And this is just one way I wanted to share some information so that you'll understand how to win at least one aspect of it. Okay? Regardless of what your child may get from a school in institutional funds, I want to make sure this is very clear. You need to also have third-party scholarships. I stress this all the time. Because again, this is money that goes with you, that stays with you. Because if something happened with the institutional funds and some of that money went away, you at least have the private funds to fall back on. Okay? Yes. You're putting this in your budget. You're putting what in your budget? Yay! I love when I didn't get to meet any of our recipients for the Black College Expo because I was just running. So congratulations to your son for applying and winning. But I will tell you, I didn't get to meet the winners, but I do know the competition for the scholarship this year was steep. It was steep. So kudos to your son, because the team who reviews the scholarship packages, they commented on how strong the essays were from the students coming out of the Atlanta market. So kudos to your son for submitting an application and winning. Because I know all the kids in my I also am the college coach for Urban League Project Ready group. I know all my kids didn't apply. So I'm like, hey, how do you expect to win when you don't play in the game? So I'm super, super proud. That's good. I'm so proud of your son that he won. That's good. That is good. So definitely, yeah, keep in touch with us as well. We always try to keep in touch with the winners to know where they're at, how they're doing as well. And let us know what school. Well, you gotta let us. I'm sure you've gotten the information from the office from Miss Rachel. But yeah, keep us posted on how he does and what happens. And if you have questions, you can definitely reach out to me too, because I can also get you some answers and all that good stuff because I'm a member of the team. So I'm glad you shared that. I love to hear those wins, because there were opportunities definitely awarded at the expo. I don't have final numbers. I probably won't have that for a while, but I do know. I know there was one school who awarded close to 40 million just by themselves. Close to 40 million by themselves. They awarded scholarships on the spot. So I tell people Black College Expo is the place to be. There's a lot of opportunities that come out of there, but you got to come ready. You got to come ready. All right. So that's good to know. Hope the others come through. We apply for everything. That's good. Apply for everything. Keep applying. Keep applying. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything as well. Do you guys have any other questions? I think that was mostly what I wanted to cover. Because I really don't want you guys having to do loans if you don't have to. I get parents talking about parent loans and they don't mind doing it. I just see the statistics and then the other part we got to think about with student loans. The current administration that we're under, if you guys aren't watching, y'all need to be paying close attention. They're trying to make some changes in the Department of Education that's going to impact your kids going to college. So please pay attention. Some things may not get passed through his proposed budget, but what I was reading the other day, there may be some other backdoor ways they're trying to make some adjustments, some of the things that he was proposing. So taking on student loans may be more, it may cost us more than they have ever before. With some of the things they're looking to propose, we have to be very, very informed if we decide to take on any form of federal loan, and that basically means the student federal loan and the parent plus loan, because that is the federal loan as well. Okay. Okay, awesome. Going to tech. All right, going to tech. I'm assuming probably STEM. Make sure network, relationships is key. If he's going in STEM, especially engineering. For those who don't know, I'm an engineer by trade. That's what I got my degree in. My undergraduate degree is in mechanical engineering. My master's degree is in business. Engineering is not one of those sports sports. Engineering is not one of those fields they can do alone. And the demographics of Georgia Tech's engineering program is mainly Asian and Indian. And there are Asians and Indian who's coming from out of the country, not necessarily here in the U.S. So make sure you're talking to your son, on how to navigate those different cultural barriers and all those other challenges, so that he's ready and so that he's prepared, because that is a challenge. Yes, okay, that is a challenge a lot of our kids encounter, and they don't know how to handle it. So they end up transferring and going to another school. So I'll let y'all work through that. Great school, but you also got to understand the cultural differences and the dynamics of what's going to be encountered as well. So that's great that he's getting there, because that's a good network. That's a good, it's a good place to get a degree from. So if you can make it work, make it work. If not, there are other schools that are great as well, that yields opportunities. But I wish him much success at Tech. I just like to play. I like to give that plug to our students, especially when I know they're going there for engineering, because a lot of times we don't think about the cultural differences, and that is one of the fields you definitely have to be. You got to be mindful of it. I couldn't have done engineering by myself. We had team projects. We had to work with one another. And if you know anything about Asians and Indians, especially those who come from other countries, they were not born and raised here in the U.S., there are different stereotypes and different mindsets they have about us as African Americans that can potentially present a barrier that he's going to have to overcome on top of everything else. So if he's prepared and knowledgeable of that, then that'll help with the process versus him getting there and getting culture shock and don't know. You want him to attend the HBCU. Okay, yeah, there's plenty of good ones. You got, I love my school. We got Southern. I know FAM is probably one of the top. FAM in North Carolina A&T are probably the top producers HBCU wise. So hopefully he'll apply to those and got accepted, and we'll hear something from them soon too to have as an option. Oh, no problem. Now, I want you guys to win. So whatever I know, I try to share it. I try to share it. All right. Any other questions? Cool. So, was this helpful to everybody? Oh yeah, Kim, that's what you're weighing, PWI versus HBCU. Yeah, you just gotta look at everything. You gotta look at everything, but you also gotta know your child. I have students who've been able to successfully navigate themselves through Ivies, and they came out fine. They had the stamina, the willpower, the foresight to go in and still perform well. And then on the other hand, I've seen students who it just wasn't a good fit for them. So you got to know your student. You got to know your child. And it's great if you can identify and recognize that before they get there, than them start and then have to transfer. But I've seen the opposite too. One of my best friends, her niece went to North Carolina A&T, had a scholarship, and she didn't like it. She went back home to go to KU. Huge difference. Oh my gosh, especially in size. But I think she wanted to be closer to home. So there are many different factors. It's all about making sure you pick a school that meets what your child, what's the best fit for your child. Yeah. Every school is different, regardless of if it's an HBCU or a PWI. So the question is, when applying to HBCUs, are the SAT and ACT scores weighed more than GPAs? It varies. It depends on the school. For example, Benedict College. I know Benedict College takes into consideration your GPA only. You just have to have a test on file, but they don't look at it and they don't use it in terms of making their decisions on admittance or funding. Whereas you get a school like North Carolina A&T or Howard, they're going to factor GPA. Well, it's beyond GPA. It's the rigor that makes up the GPA. and they're going to factor in the test scores. So it depends on the school. It depends on the school. Every school has its own target in terms of the type of student they're looking for, and that's going to be directly tied to their requirements. Whether it's a PWI or an HBCU, it applies on both sides. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, I appreciate you for joining. Thank you for your wonderful questions and your engagement. I really, really hope this was enlightening. It was timely to help give you some next steps that's practical, that you're able to execute and get results from. Feel free to send us a note if you have any questions. Definitely am available to be a resource to you guys. Please share this out. I'm sure you know somebody or a whole lot of somebodies who should have been here on the live stream, who needs to hear this information. Feel free, please share it. This is how we're going to help get our kids, our next future leaders, on the right course of action through knowledge. Knowledge is power, so we have to start getting educated as parents, so that we'll know how to help our kids, so that they're not getting caught up in this $1.5 trillion student loan debt crisis that is crippling the millennial generation as we speak right now. And is also crippling some families, because more parents have taken out PLUS loans than ever before. And at the same time, more parents are delinquent on their PLUS loan payments than ever before, just as more students have been delinquent on their student loan payments than ever before. So we want to try to avoid debt as much as possible, but it requires us to get educated. It requires us to develop a strategy, get educated, come up with a strategy that's going to get our kids noticed, and then us being deliberate in how we execute the steps of our strategy. That is how we win at the end of the day. That is how you send your child to college for free. So please tell these parents they don't have, well, yeah, I've been preaching that from the mountaintop, Angela, and I'll continue to preach it, because it seems like the more I preach it, the more people don't know that they should not be waiting until their child becomes a senior to start talking about college or doing anything related to college. Tests, ACT, SATs, all that stuff. We need to start the process early. So we need to start looking for scholarships as early as kindergarten, and we need to start the college admissions or college readiness process at least 8th grade year. At least 8th grade year. Because all ACT and SATs should be done and finished by junior year. All right? So, all that information. I'll call her right back. All right, so sorry about that. Everything is in our book. It outlines all that from 8th grade to 12th grade. You guys, you can find all the product stuff on collegeforfree.info. But don't forget to get your ebook on crushcollegedebt.com. Follow those steps. Replay the